Childhood summers didn't feel long, they felt endless. A single afternoon could stretch into what felt like days. Waiting for something meant living inside that waiting for what seemed like forever. That doesn't happen anymore. Now entire years pass without leaving a mark. Months collapse. A decade feels closer than a single childhood summer once did. The clock didn't change. The calendar didn't change. A year is still 365 days. An hour is still 60 minutes. Physics hasn't noticed anything, and yet, unmistakably, something has. This happens to nearly everyone across generations, across cultures, across lives that share almost nothing else in common. If this happens to nearly everyone, across cultures and generations, then it isn't personal and it isn't accidental. So what exactly is changing? A minute at 5 years old is 60 seconds. A minute at 50 is 60 seconds. No clock runs faster as you age. Years don't shorten. A calendar decade contains the same number of days whether you're young or old. Days remain 24 hours. Weeks remain 7 days. The structure is fixed. Physics measures time with extraordinary precision. Atomic clocks track it down to billionths of a second. No acceleration has been observed, no deviation. Time, as far as measurement is concerned, does not change. And yet the feeling persists. If nothing in the world is accelerating, not clocks, not calendars, not physics, then whatever is speeding up cannot be out there. So where does time actually exist? When people notice this, they reach for familiar explanations: nostalgia, memory fading, the natural process of getting older. These explanations feel convincing because they describe something real. Childhood memories do carry a different weight. Memory does become less sharp. Aging does bring change, but nostalgia explains longing, not compression. It explains why certain moments feel precious, not why entire years feel shorter than single childhood summers once did. Memory fading explains forgetting. It doesn't explain why a decade can feel closer than a single week used to feel. And aging explains change. But it doesn't explain why the change moves in only one direction, why time doesn't fluctuate, why it only accelerates. These explanations touch the surface of the experience. They describe effects, but they don't reach the center of what's actually happening. If memory loss and nostalgia don't explain it, then we're asking the wrong question. The real question isn't why time feels fast, but what time actually is. In the 4th century, Augustinus Aurelius tried to define time and found he couldn't. The moment he reached for it, it slipped away. He could measure it, he could feel it, but he couldn't say what it was. What he realized disturbed him. The past doesn't exist, not as a place, not as a thing. It exists only as memory. The future doesn't exist either. It exists only as expectation. And the present? The present is where time is supposed to be, the single point where existence actually happens. But try to hold it. The moment you notice now, it's already gone. The present has no duration you can grasp. It passes too quickly to contain anything. So if the past is only memory, and the future is only expectation, and the present won't hold still, where does time exist? It exists in the act of remembering, in the act of anticipating, in the stretching of the mind between what was and what will be. You don't experience the past, you remember it. You don't experience the future, you anticipate it. The only moment you touch directly is the present. And even that is gone before you can name it. Take memory away, take expectation away. What's left? Nothing that feels like time. This means time isn't passing independently. It's being held, formed, stretched across memory and anticipation by the mind itself. If time exists inside experience, then it doesn't simply pass, it's formed. And if it's formed, then not all time can be the same. A minute on the clock is always 60 seconds, always identical, always uniform. The clock doesn't care what happens inside that minute. it measures duration as if every moment weighs the same. But experience doesn't work that way. A minute waiting feels longer than a minute absorbed in something. An hour of boredom stretches, an hour of danger or novelty compresses, or sometimes expands in memory. The clock measures both as identical. Experience registers them as completely different. This isn't a trick of perception, it's a structural difference. There are two kinds of time. There is clock time, measurable, divisible, treated as if it were made of identical interchangeable units. This is the time that runs schedules, coordinates events, ticks forward in neat, predictable intervals. And then there is live time. Time as it actually feels. Time that stretches when nothing happens and vanishes when everything does. Time that can't be divided cleanly because it flows as a continuous, qualitative experience. Thick in some moments, thin in others. Henry Bergson called this lived qualitative flow duration. Clock time treats every minute as equivalent. Duration does not. Duration is dense or sparse depending on what fills it. Some moments contain more life than others. Some hours feel richer than entire months. The clock never notices the difference. Experience always does. If lived time can stretch or collapse, then something must control its thickness. So what determines how much experience fits inside a moment? You don't experience single instants. You never have. When you hear a melody, you don't hear isolated notes appearing and vanishing one by one. You hear the melody as one thing, a span of sound that holds together. The note you just heard is still present somehow. The note coming next is already anticipated. The now you live in is not a knife edge. It has width. It contains a little of what just happened and a little of what's about to happen. It's a span, short but real. You experience continuity, not points, and that span can feel dense, or it can feel almost empty. Some moments are thick with attention, novelty, detail. Others pass so thinly you barely notice them at all. The clock measures both as identical. Experience does not. William James called this lived now the specious present, not the mathematical present, the instant that exists only in theory, but the present you actually inhabit, the psychological present, the one that has texture, weight, and variation. Some specious presents contain more than others, more awareness, more distinction, more life. The clock doesn't notice the difference. You do. If the present itself can be full or empty, then what happens to it as we grow older? In childhood, the future feels vast, not distant, vast, open in a way that makes it impossible to see the edges. There are more possibilities than you can count, more time than you know what to do with. That changes, not suddenly, not all at once. But the future begins to feel closer, not because it's moving toward you faster, but because there's less of it left. Fewer years ahead than behind, fewer open doors. The horizon narrows, and time begins to press. It's not just that the years pass quickly, it's that they pass in one direction, toward something final, toward an end that was always there but didn't used to feel relevant. This is why the experience of time speeding up isn't just strange, it's unsettling. It's not a perceptual quirk, it's not a trick of memory. It's the felt pressure of finitude, the structure of a life that has limits pressing against the experience of time itself. Heidegger argued that human existence is fundamentally temporal, not because we exist in time, but because we are time. We are beings oriented toward a future that will eventually run out. And that orientation shapes everything, including how time feels. Time doesn't just move, it narrows. If this feeling is tied to finitude, then it isn't just emotional, it's structural. So what is actually changing in experience itself? What's interesting is that neuroscience, without trying to answer philosophical questions, ends up describing the same thing. The brain does not record life continuously. It doesn't store experience as a smooth, unbroken stream. Instead, it divides experience into events, discrete segments separated by boundaries. When something changes, when you shift attention, when context shifts, when something unexpected happens, the brain marks a boundary. That boundary becomes an event. Events are what memory holds on to. Fewer boundaries means fewer events. Fewer events means thinner memory. And when memory becomes thinner, long stretches of time collapse in retrospect. This is event segmentation, and it maps directly onto what philosophy already described. Event density is Bergson's duration made visible. Memory thickness is Augustine's stretching of the mind. The structural thinning is what Heidegger pointed to when he said time presses inward as the future narrows. Science confirms the structure. It doesn't replace it, but it also reveals something else. If time compresses because fewer moments are registered, then the real question becomes, why does the mind register fewer moments as we age? The answer is simple and unsettling. Adult life becomes repetitive. Days begin to resemble each other. Weeks follow predictable patterns. The commute is the same. The routines are the same. The environments are the same. Childhood is full of firsts. First day of school, first time riding a bike, first time away from home. Each experience stands apart because it's new. The brain marks those moments as distinct. They become events. But as life stabilizes, newness fades. You've driven that route 1,000 times. You've had that conversation before. You've been in that room, done that task, seen that face dozens or hundreds of times. When experiences repeat, the brain stops treating them as separate events. They blur together. Distinctions fade. Memory stops registering boundaries. And there's something else happening at the neural level. As the brain encounters the same patterns over and over, its representations of those experiences become less distinct. Neural responses flatten. What was once sharp becomes generalized. This is called de-differentiation. It's not that the brain is failing. It's that it's adapting. Repetition doesn't demand detail, so detail is lost. And when detail is lost, moments stop standing apart. If life loses distinction through repetition, then this feeling isn't a flaw, it's a signal. So what is it signaling? Time feels faster. Life feels compressed. Years collapse into what single summers used to feel like, but nothing sped up. Time does not speed up. Life loses thickness. What changed was not the clock. What changed was the density of experience, the structure of memory, the texture of the present, the weight of each moment. Memory thinned, duration collapsed. The present emptied, the future pressed inward, and distinction faded. This is not a perceptual error. It's not nostalgia. It's not aging in the abstract. It is the felt experience of living in a way that no longer generates the boundaries, the novelty, the attention that make time feel full. Augustine was right. Time exists in the mind, and when memory becomes less distinct, time itself collapses. Bergson was right. Lived time can thin, and when life loses qualitative richness, duration shrinks. James was right. The present has thickness, and when nothing new fills it, it becomes nearly transparent. Heidegger was right. Finitude shapes how time feels. And as the future narrows, time presses. Science confirmed it. Fewer distinctions mean fewer events. Fewer events mean thinner memory. And thinner memory makes years feel like weeks. The problem was never time. The problem is how experience is structured, or rather, how it stops being structured, how it flattens, how it repeats, how it blurs. If time doesn't speed up, if life becomes thinner, then the real question isn't about time anymore. It's about how one exists inside it. When experience changes, time thickens again, not because the clock changes, because new experiences create boundaries, and boundaries give memory something to hold on to. Duration returns when life regains distinction. When attention deepens, the present becomes inhabitable. Moments stop slipping through. The specious present fills with detail, awareness, texture. What was thin becomes dense again, not through effort, through presence. And when finitude is acknowledged, not avoided, not feared, but recognized, time gains weight. The narrowing future is not a problem. It's what makes time matter, what makes each moment unable to be replaced by any other. This is not about slowing time down. Time was never moving in the first place. This is about living in a way that allows time to take shape, to have thickness, to register as something more than a calendar moving forward. Those childhood summers weren't slower. They were thicker, dense with novelty, attention, and a future that felt infinite. The difference wasn't time, it was the structure of experience inside it, and that structure is not fixed. It responds to how life is lived, how much changes, how much is noticed, how much matters. Most people feel this shift, but few ever talk about it. If this resonated, I'm curious, how does time feel to you now? Does it feel thinner, heavier, or something else entirely? Leave a comment. I'd like to know. And if you find this video helpful, like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Thank you.